Hey guys, welcome back to the Cheap channel, the channel dedicated to all things cheap in the world of fragrances. And as you can see, today's video is going to be very different. It is going to be a video I've been wanting to do for a little while. It is a first impressions of a Cheapie haul, kind of blind buy kind of deal. My first time opening these and smelling these right in front of you for a first impression and what I think about it. I did a community post poll and vote way back asking what kind of video you'd like to see. Would you rather have me a big blind haul that I did that I would already wore and got into, or would you rather me talk about things I haven't talked about before, or would you rather me do a first impressions video where I just get a whole bunch of random stuff in and open it and see what we all think about it? And majority of everybody voted that I do that I do a first impressions kind of blind buy Cheapie haul. So this is what I got right here, and I'm going to rearrange some things, but we have a random assortment of all kind of cheapies, things that are very, very cheap, up until things that are still cheap, but are right at that $20, $25 range, all over from old-fashioned to new to midway. It's going to be all kind of different things here, and I think all kind of different smells, and I'm very, very excited for this. I bought these and had these put away and was pushing off when to do the video, and it was just eating at me because I really wanted to open these. I really wanted to just dig in and go ahead and see what they were like. I'm a very impatient person, and it just took everything in me to not just tear these open as soon as I got them in. But I didn't. I put them to the side, and I was like, I'm gonna wait and do the video, and then I'll open it live on camera. So this is what I'm doing now, and I'm gonna reorganize these, and then we will go through from the lowest end to the highest end and see what we got in store. Okay, I think I got them all arranged to how I want them. I'm gonna go from right to left, or really I think it'll be your left to right, but right to left, my right to left, it'll be from probably the cheapest one and least anticipated to the more expensive, but not really expensive, obviously because it's cheap, to the most anticipated. So the ones that I was most excited to smell and that I really was looking forward to getting in. I'll go through each one, show you the presentation, the packaging, spray it, give it first impressions, let that dry down. At the end of the video, I'll go back through and smell them all as they dry down and see which ones are my most favorite, or the ones I like the most. And I kind of will do a little bit of a note breakdown. If I really like it, I'll go through, look on for Fragrantica and kind of give the note breakdown and try to pick it out if I was correct on what I smelled and what I thought about it and kind of what the ratings were on it, just to give my first impressions compared to everybody else's overall impressions. I'm gonna try not to have a whole lot of editing in this. I'll kind of want to have a very genuine, just natural video. As it goes through, you'll see my impressions and how I smell it and what I think about it and me describing it. I don't want to get too much into cutting out a whole lot. It'll help myself later and now. Also, before I get into smelling these, I do want to let you know that all of these I got off of fragrancebuy.ca, because Fragrance Buy has a lot of great variety of cheapies. They have a whole assortment of things, and their prices are really good. So when I tell you the prices of these, it is as the prices were when I got them on Fragrance Buy. Also, just a PSA, there's gonna be a lot of sniffing in this video. I have my test strips here. I'm gonna spray them on a test strip and smell them in the beginning and at the end of the video. And so if you don't like to watch me sit here and sniff and smell it, you can always skip through. But just letting you know, I mean, it's the kind of the nature of collecting fragrances and obviously doing these first impressions and these live reactions. It's going to be a lot of smelling, because I love smelling stuff, and if you're into fragrances, you love smelling stuff. I mean, I'll get something from somebody and the first thing I want to do is smell it. Just to see what it smells like. I want to know what I'm getting into, and it's just a reaction. And my wife thinks I'm weird, which is not wrong, but it's just how it is. It's how we do. You know, if there's anyone else out there that you're like that, where you smell things for so long that their first reaction when you get something is to smell it, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you agree with me, if you are in tune with what I'm saying, if you are connected to it, if you vibe with that. Just let me know in the comments what you think about that. Anyway, I'm gonna get into this video. I'm gonna get into these reactions, okay? I'm gonna start with the lowest and the cheaper end one. It is this one here, Cuba's Copa Cabana. I've seen this around a lot, and I have a Cuba fragrance video that I just did, so I kind of wanted to keep going on with that, and I really actually was surprised and with how Cuba fragrances are. I always thought they were so cheap, but after I started smelling more of them, I was like, hey, they got a little bit of something going on here. And so it made me curious to try out all their other stuff. And I've heard a lot about this one and a lot of listings people gave. And so when I saw this one, especially for $5 on Fragrance Buy, then I had to get that. And so I'm very curious as to what this is going to be like. So let's go ahead and get this open, if I can. Warning, there may be a lot of ranting in this video, me talking to myself and just babbling. So I'll try to edit a lot of that out, but if you do like it, then good on you. I'm glad you do. As you see in a lot of Cuba fragrances, they come in these little tin cans. I wasn't able to get a small, was it 15 or 30 mil, the small cigar one, so I had to get the big cigar one. I believe this is the big cigar one. So on these larger sizes that are the large cigar ones, you have the cardboard tube with the metal top. And let's see what the full one looks like. And here you go. It is a full-size cigar. That's pretty cool. I think this is a full 100 mil, just like the miniature cigars, just blown up. So let's see how it is. Oh wow, so these, okay, didn't expect that. The full-size ones actually do have a collar on the atomizer, not like the small ones, so that's actually pretty cool. I did not expect that. This is an eau de toilette concentration, so let's go ahead and smell it and see what it is like. I don't know if you want me to spray these in the air to see the atomizer or not, but I'll do that just to show you. Not a bad atomizer. Okay, I can vibe with it. Okay, very powdery, spicy. Okay, so on most of these, I did, even though they're not completely blind buy, because I did look into them a little bit before I bought them, because I wanted them to be something that I would enjoy. Maybe next time I'll do a complete blind buy where I don't look into the fragrance at all. But I did look at these a little bit on Fragrantica, even though I forgot most of these. I do remember people talking about this one being a clone or similar to Armani Code. And I can definitely see that. This is an Armani Code similarity. Powdery, spicy, basically it. I don't think it's definitely not gonna be as deep or as rich as the actual Armani Code, but it's a lot lighter than Armani Code. So if you want a lighter one, then yeah. Okay, that's not bad. You know what? A little bit of vanilla in there as well. Slightly sweet, not bad. Let's go ahead and look at Fragrantica and see what it says about it. The notes that are in it. Okay, so on the top notes you have lavender, lemon blossom, lime, bergamot, lemon, and geranium. So yeah, definitely the lavender I get on that. Middle notes are rose, cloves, this is spices, cedar, ylang-ylang, and base notes are incense, amber, musk, and oak moss. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So it doesn't have that actual star anise note like the original Armani Code has. It's not bad. It's definitely different. I actually think that Belkin Parfum's version of Armani Code, which is called Vault, is actually closer to Armani Code, which is one I'll cover later on, but this is not bad. It does dry off pretty quickly, so it's not as strong as it was. Let me spray it on again. I still am amazed by the color that's on this actually. It's pretty okay. Yeah. Not really much of a top note. It's mostly that alcohol that you smell. I imagine maybe on skin it'd be a little different, but I'm not able to do it on skin. One, I got long sleeves, and plus I don't have enough skin to spray all these on. Yeah, it's definitely an Armani Code kind of feel. Powdery, spicy, lavender, not really so much incense, it's not really smoky, but maybe as it dries down your skin, you pick up some of that. Ambery, slightly sweet. It's not bad, it's not bad at all. Masculine leaning, I think it's actually pretty okay. I mean, Cuba fragrances are hit and miss. I mean, you can find some that are really good, some that are absolutely terrible, and some that are in between. I think for me right now, this is on that in between, so okay, it's not bad. So we'll leave this on the side and let it dry down. So now on to the next one, which is this one here, One Man Show Gold Edition. So you know, it is also by Jacques Bogart, and you know, I love Jacques Bogart. I had the Oud edition in a short video that I looked at. It's a very potent, woody, spicy, leathery kind of oud fragrance. That oud is in there, and it's obviously a synthetic oud, but it is very, very strong, and as it dries down, it's an amazing blend and quality for that price. And I looked at this one for a while. This is the gold edition. Now, I'm not sure what it smells like. I do love the original Bogart Pour Homme, which is one that I'll probably talk about in a video way later. I absolutely love it. I think it's an amazing quality buy. So this is One Man Show though, not the Pour Homme One Man Show line, which is apparently a very specialized line in the Bogart line. And it says highly concentrated. So it says eau de toilette, but yet it says highly concentrated. So I'm not sure how that goes together. But anyway, we'll look at the box real quick. You have a just One Man Show Gold Edition text on the front. It's a gold box with black on the side. It's a metallic, kind of reflective kind of look on the front. And we'll open her up and see how it be. Okay, so it is a blacked out bottle. Looks just like all the other One Man Show fragrances, but this one is blacked out. It is a opaque glass. It's not see-through like some of the other ones, and it says One Man Show on the front. You have the built-in atomizer like all the Bogart fragrances have. I'll try to fix this one where it's more in the middle. Sometimes you'll look on these built-in atomizers, especially like on the Bogart line, and the atomizer nozzle points into that inside wall of this housing, and it can build up on there and probably take some of the color off the plastic and just run down. So I like to get it and turn it into the middle of that housing where it'll spray straight out. Let's go ahead and give it a spray and see what we think. Oh, it went right out that time. Right out. Okay. Let it dry a little bit. I already smell it. Wow. Okay. Whew. Whoa, that's strong. Okay. Okay, so highly concentrated is the theme they're going for. This is loud. Wow. Whoo. Very woody. Has a leatheriness to it. Very, very spicy on that top and animalic. It has that old-fashioned 70s kind of animalic feel, that, or 80s, that powerhouse. It is very strong, very, very strong. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, yeah. Good bit of soapiness in there as well, a lot of aromatics. Very, very spicy though. I keep saying that, but it is. Yeah, okay, so very, very, very strong. This is a powerhouse of a fragrance, which most of the Bogart or One Man Show lines are. I mean, it's called a one-man show, so you're meant to be a one-man show. When you spray this on, everybody's gonna know that you're there. Everybody's gonna smell you even before you come in. I mean, your scent precedes you, you know. This is, whoa, super strong. I can't get over how animalic it is. If you don't know what an animalic smell is like, smell any 80s powerhouse fragrance. I mean, things like Coros by Yves Saint Laurent. You have Enteas by Chanel. And I know those are on the expensive end, but they are known to be that animalic, like quintessential smells. But you also have things like Corum, the original Corum by Corum, that has an animalic smell to it. You have Pour Louis by Oscar de la Renta, has a slight animalic tone to it. Once you smell that animalic kind of vibe and that nuance, you will be able to recognize it in all those old-fashioned fragrances. This is just very strong. This whole room smells like a one-man show now. Musky. It is very musky too. That's another thing I didn't get at. It's very, very musky. But up close, you actually get more of the herbs and the spices and almost like a effervescence, but not in a light way, but in a heavy way. It smells like a grandpa's bedroom. It smells like those, like imagine you're in an old church with green carpets and purple pews and a purple pulpit and a wood podium, and the ceiling's very low, and you gather in that very back room where all the preachers meet with the pastor in that wood paneled wall room. This is what it smells like. This is the image it's bringing to my mind. Very masculine, very, very masculine, very old-fashioned. If you don't like old-fashioned scents, you're not gonna like this one. I'm gonna go ahead and go through that note breakdown real quick because I've got to know what this is like. Yep, warm, spicy, ambery, musky, powdery. Yep. So in the top notes, you have red apple, violet, anise, so like star anise or star anise, how some people say it, African orange flower, and mandarin orange. Middle notes are cinnamon, clove, lavender, geranium, so those are spices I was talking about. And base notes are musk, yep, amber, French labdanum, and woody notes. And it is very woody. as it's drying down where you get that. Okay, I will say on this dry down as it's going through, especially up close, you first get that animalic punch. And there's no leather note in this, but when you first spray it, you almost get a leather nuance. And I think it's because of that animalic musk. When you first smell it, you gotta break through that animalic musk barrier, and then you get into, yeah, the cinnamon, clove, spices, like an old-fashioned Christmas. Not sweet at all. This is hardly any sweetness, no modern kind of smell to it. It's definitely old-fashioned, retro, just powerhouse, bomb, nuclear fragrance. But that dry down, I imagine on skin, this would dry down very nicely, as the same way that Oud Edition did. On test strip, the Oud Edition is just that leather, but as it dries on skin, it gets very smooth. I imagine this is the same way, because Bogart is very cheap, very inexpensive. I think this is maybe like $19, $20, but even for that price, the blends on them are amazing. So I imagine when it dries down, it gets a lot more rounded. Okay, well that's Bogart. One Man Show Gold Edition. So strong. I hope I can smell anything else after this. So the next one we're getting into, the third one, is this one. It is Bejon for men. And I know you're used to seeing Bejon, the full-size bottles, that little donut circle with the top on it. But this is the small 30 ml. It was very inexpensive. I think it might have been like $12, $13. And another little tip for you, those of you who are into fragrance collecting and you want to collect a lot of fragrances, go for the smaller sizes if you can. If they have the availability to get a smaller size bottle, especially if you don't know what it smells like, go ahead and get the smaller size. And if you use that up and you like it, go ahead and get the big size. But it helps to save space and money, especially when you're first starting out. I would highly suggest starting with these small ones. And this one, it looks like the shape of the bottle is actually in a B, just like the B in Bejon. So Bejon, I've seen a lot in old style like listings on cheap fragrances. Like Mr. Smelly has talked about Bejon a lot in his channel. He loves those old masculine classic style fragrances, and Bejon he's mentioned a lot. And so this is one that I've actually looked at for a while, but I didn't realize they had a small size, and I went ahead and picked it up. So let's open it up and see what it is like. I want to have a whole pile of plastic over here on the side where I'm going to be throwing all of these. So, all right. So what am I expecting this to smell like? I'm expecting it to smell, of course, old-fashioned. I think Bejon came out in the 80s, I believe, maybe the 70s. So I'm expecting it to have that old style, maybe barbershop or fougere kind of style. I don't mind that because I do love those kind of fragrances. So here is the bottle. It is definitely in that B shape like Bejon, but it has a very unique shape to it, almost ergonomic because your knuckles wrap around these little dents in the sides pretty well, and the atomizer is built in on the top. Let's go ahead and spray it and see what we think about it. Ah, there we go. Ooh. Caught a little whiff of it as I sprayed it accidentally on my hand. Oh, okay, so yeah, totally different style from the Bogart one. This is that very retro, like 70s kind of soapy style fragrance. Not really barbershoppy, but definitely soapy, powdery, just very clean. It is musky as well. This is very different, very, very different. It still has that retro style to it, but it's not the exact same profile as the Bogart. It's not animalic. It doesn't have any of those kind of nuances to it. It's very clean. It has a brightness to it too, and a slight sweetness. So I imagine there's probably a little bit of vanilla and lavender. Oh, the dry down is starting to get very nice. It is very clean though. I actually like this one. Yeah, I like this one a lot more than the Bogart one. It is still old-fashioned smelling, but I do like it a lot more than the Bogart. Even the Bogart is just very, very challenging. And this is probably going to still be challenging to a lot of people, especially if you don't like older style ones. But I am an old soul at heart, and I love these kind of fragrances. And I kind of like just fragrances in general, but I do like this style of fragrances. So let's see what the notes are, and also when it came out, if I was right or not. Okay, it is actually changing a whole lot since the opening. So this is an Amber Fougere. It actually came out in '87. So I was wrong on that when I said 70s, but I mean, it's a lot of those came in around the same kind of era. On top notes, you have oat moss, you have sage, you have nutmeg, musk, lavender, lemon, bergamot, mandarin orange, and fruity notes. The middle notes you have are honey, carnation, fir, cinnamon, sandalwood, amber, tarragon, ylang ylang, jasmine, iris, and rose. And on the base notes, you have leather, cloves, patchouli, musk, vetiver, rosemary, benzoin, cedar, vanilla, and tonka bean. So they had everything, including the kitchen sink on this thing. I mean, that's a lot of notes, y'all. That's a lot of notes. But I was right at least. I immediately nailed down the spiciness and the lavender and the vanilla. But there is some honey in this too, which is pretty interesting. But I don't think it's that noticeable. There you go. 20,000 notes in one fragrance. So, which is the way they did it back then. I mean, they just put a whole bunch of stuff in it, which to make it smell as complex as it could be, even though I think there's some notes that popped out more than others. But I like this. I really want to try this on skin. I imagine on skin this would dry down very nicely. It's a good skin scent, very powdery, ambery. There is a sweetness. They did say there's benzoin and vanilla, which makes it a very vanilla-y, sweet, almost creamy kind of smell. And there's sandalwood in here too, but man, that is nice. That is very, very nice. Immediately like this a lot more than the Bejon one. So pretty cool. Okay, really like that. So there's those kinds of fragrances. You got the Cabana, very, very cheap, and then these two old-fashioned ones. And the fourth one, we're gonna start getting a little modern on it, and it's one I've seen around a ton, and I just never picked it up for whatever reason, and I decided to do it. And this one, it is by Lattafa, and it is Najia, the first one, the regular one. You've probably seen this around all over Fragrantica. If you look up by the price or you look up Lattafa, you'll see this pop up. Probably one of the first ones that has a silver leaf on it. And I think it has other things besides just the cologne in this. So we'll look it up and see. Let's go ahead and open and see what we got here. And again, I kind of know what this is going toward because I did look at it to see if it was worth getting. Who knows? Maybe it'll surprise me either way. All right, plastic wrap, time to join your brothers. All right, so the box, you have a silver leaf on the front, black, just regular rectangle style box. It is actually an eau de parfum concentration, so very different from anything we've seen before. This is now eau de parfum, so I'm expecting it to be a little richer, a little better performance, and so forth, so on. And I was right, so look at this. So first off, you do get the fragrance. I actually like the bottle. Look at it. So it is actually a clear see-through bottle with a leaf print on the front. And I actually do like that design. I think it's pretty cool. And the cap is just a regular slide-on cap. But no, it isn't just the fragrance bottle you get. And with this kit, you also get a little perfume spray, like a little deodorizer spray, like a travel size. That's aerosol. You can travel around with you. So that'd be pretty cool to just keep in your bag wherever you go. And just spray it on before you go in somewhere if you are missing that fragrance. So I want to say this real quick, that when you do get a fragrance in, if it's been stored for a long while or traveled a long way, that when they first put the fragrance in the bottle, certain gases, especially because of the perfumer's alcohol, will build up on the inside. So before you begin to spray the fragrance, you can barely press it down and you'll hear a little tss release as the gases release out of the bottle. And you'll also see the atomizer tube on the inside will kind of fill up a little bit. All those air bubbles will go up and it'll make it a little easier to spray. Not a great atomizer, very weak, but you know, it is what it is. Ah, okay. All right, I immediately know this is going toward. So, bubblegum sweetness, very light, airy, slightly aquatic. Yep, this is definitely Paco Rabanne Invictus style. I don't know if it's exactly Invictus Aqua, but it's definitely a Invictus bubblegum sweetness. Very reminiscent of Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, which you know is a Invictus Aqua, I think 2016 model cologne. This compared to Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Mont Blanc Legend Spirit is a lot more aquatic, a lot lighter. This is a lot sweeter and a lot more heavy on that front end. And it's not as ozonic aquatic, but it still is nice. Yeah, that's not bad. I think I picked this one up for $18, $19, maybe $20, but still wasn't bad at all. I really want to wear this one and see what it's like. But yeah, if you like any kind of that Mont Blanc Legend Spirit aquatic bubblegum style that matches Invictus as well as like Rosasi Hawass and things like that, you will definitely like this. Let's get the note breakdown real quick. So on this one, Lattafa Najia, the regular one, not the other ones, you have top notes of lemon, cinnamon, apple, lemongrass, and bergamot. Middle notes are watery notes, lavender, cardamom, and rosemary. And the base notes you have are musk, amber, sandalwood, tobacco, which is very interesting, did not expect that, and cedar. So there you go. Yeah, I imagine on skin it'd probably dry very different, and you'll have more of those woody notes come out, and maybe a lot more of the spices come out. But I do smell a little bit of spiciness on this top end. I think that this would be a lot closer to Rosasi Hawass than Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, but still in that Invictus style, but not as aquatic. It is nice though. Really, really like this one. So yeah, we're getting way more modern than the other ones we had before. Yeah, really good. Time for the next one. So the next one we got is this one. It is The Icon by Antonio Banderas, except this is the Eau de Parfum concentration. So there is an Eau de Toilette, and this is the Eau de Parfum. So I've been trying to track this down actually for a while because Ross from TOTG Reviews did a short review and recommendation of this fragrance, and I really tried to get it, but when I had it saved, I went to buy it the next day and it was gone. So when I went back through to do this haul, it was back in stock and I got it immediately. And I think this is probably also in that $20, $21 range, so not bad at all. As I'm very excited to see what this one is like because he said it was really good and it made me very, very excited. Bye-bye. So this is actually the first Antonio Banderas fragrance that I will have smelled. I've been trying to get Blue Seduction and a lot of other ones, and I just keep pushing it off. But this is the first one that I will smell, and I'm very excited, actually. I forgot to go over the box. The box, you have just a regular gradient from silver to black metallic sheen box, just a regular kind of style with the name of the fragrance on the front and the name of the concentration. It's an Eau de Parfum concentration. And when you open that up, you get this style bottle, which is very neat. I do like it. It is a blacked out but gradient bottle. It is clear at the bottom and then gets gradient is black to the top and has a flat back on it and a flat front with the icon kind of medallion on the front, and it's a pretty neat looking bottle. Cap is very, very light, by the way. I know I didn't talk much about caps, but the cap is very light, but it doesn't matter about the presentation. As we know, it matters about the fragrance inside. So let's get into what this is like. Ooh, that's a good atomizer. Had a little bit of a push to it. I actually like that. I will forgive the cap because of the atomizer. Ooh, that's nice. Hold up, I want to let it dry a little more. I'm smelling Bejon and Bogart over here like all of my face, so I probably need to like dispose of these test strips before they ruin all these other ones. Okay, I'm getting a different smell every time I go in. That is very nice. Okay, so immediately what I'm getting is a very powdery, sweet tonka bean coming out. Very, very strong on that end. Reminds me a little bit of Mont Blanc Starwalker Extreme and a good bit of like Chanel's Allure Sport Eau Extreme. Not so much the Caroline or Bad Boy kind of route because that's way more sweet on the top, but it does remind me of the first two a good bit, like a mixture between them. With a little more base underneath though. Starwalker Extreme has a lot of fruity sweetness on the top, but not much base, and so does Allure Sport Extreme, but this has a lot more base underneath. Yeah, sweet, powdery, creamy, but not too sweet, but it is noticeably there. That is very nice. I would almost go say there's almost a little bit of iris in there, but I don't know for sure. So let's go ahead and look up this note breakdown because this is actually very interesting. A little bit of spiciness there too, but there's something else, man. As this dries down, this is changing a lot. So the top notes you have are grapefruit, black pepper, and juniper. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit. Middle notes are lavender, suede, cypress, and the base notes are benzoin, patchouli, vetiver, and labdanum. So no iris, no tonka bean, even though I definitely smell that kind of nuance to it. And maybe on test strip, it doesn't work out like that. Maybe on skin, as more notes come out when it's on your skin than it does on test strip. Which, by the way, if you don't know, test strip only give you like the first top notes, maybe a little bit of the mid, but no base. Yeah, I can definitely get a little bit of a suede note now. Yeah, as it's going through. You definitely get lavender. I don't really get black pepper though, not really a lot of spiciness, but again, maybe on skin it's different. And benzoin, that's probably what I got, that sweetness. Benzoin is sweet, like a vanilla kind of sweetness, and depending on what it's with, it can be a little powdery. I'm getting powder from this though. Really good, very, very smooth, very, very well-rounded. It's just not really too heavy as far as what I can smell, just very light. So don't smell exactly what's on the notes, but maybe on skin, it would be different. But this would be a good all year round fragrance. Maybe hot summer it won't do so good, but all the rest of the seasons and maybe even some cool summer nights, definitely can see this one. Really cool, really like that one. Okay, that's Antonio Banderas, the Icon, really like it. Okay, now on to the next and last one. It is one that I was most excited about, and it's the more expensive one in this lineup, which is I think around $23, $25. It is this one. Armaf's Club de Nuit Intense for Women. So this one I do know a little bit about. Haven't smelled it, but I do know that it is supposedly a clone of Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, which is a unisex, slightly feminine leaning fragrance. So I'm expecting this to be that same way, unisex, maybe slightly feminine, but I don't know. Maybe it'd be something that I could wear, or if I don't like it, then I can give it to my wife. And if you think it's good, then you can give it to whoever you want to give it to. Okay, so presentation of the box, you have a texturized kind of box where it has a kind of wood grain feel all the way around it. You can definitely have like a grip on this, almost rubberized, but not quite. It's definitely very different. You have that little Armaf Club de Nuit jewel that's always on all the fragrances. And you have, of course, the name and the concentration on the front. I'm not gonna go through batch codes or anything like that unless you really want me to go through that. And on the inside of all Club de Nuit fragrances, you have this little stand that premieres some of their other Club de Nuit line fragrances, some unisex, some feminine. And here is the bottle. It is the classic Club de Nuit bottle. It is the rectangle or square brick kind of style that you always know, with a little medallion on the front and the dice top on it with the studded diamonds on all sides of it. Let's go ahead and get into what it smells like now. The same kind of atomizers they usually have, and they kind of spray on the collar, so they kind of leak a little bit, if you don't mind that. I just always wipe them off after I spray them because they always will leak on that, and I don't want it to ruin that metallic finish on that collar over time. Whoa, I already smell it. Then you have to go into the test strip. I smell it in the air. Oh yeah, that's very nice. That's very, very nice. Okay. First thing you get is a huge punch of rose. It is a rose forward, but it gets that floral part of the rose at first, and then quickly behind it you get a sweetness that balances that out. A lot of sweetness. You get a lot of patchouli in this too. A lot of vanilla coming in. Slightly powdery, slightly spicy, but it is a rose patchouli forward. But it's sweet. It's not a dryness. It's not a funeral home kind of floral rose. It's quickly backed up and balanced out by that sweetness. Definitely unisex. I don't think that this would be, women would definitely love this, but I think guys who are really into fragrances, especially if you love rose patchouli combos, you would definitely like this. Yeah, that is very, very nice. Let's look at that note breakdown real quick. It is technically it's called a Cheapie floral. It says for women, but top notes are rose, saffron, and geranium. Middle notes are nutmeg, pepper, there's the spices, violet, and caraway. And base notes are patchouli, agarwood or oud, vanilla, and amber. So I did pick out some of those notes. What do you know? And I forgot that oud was in this. I should have known. If it was based on a Tom Ford fragrance, I should have known that oud was going to be in it somewhere. Yeah, that is good. That is good. I imagine on skin, this is, again, as usual, skin would probably bring this out a lot more, be a lot smoother, and you get more of those bases that will come out to help support everything. Yeah, definitely a colder weather kind of style. Winter and fall, definitely. Maybe cooler spring. I could not see wearing this in the summertime by either men or women. I don't see, let me way too strong, but wow, this is really good. Okay, so I'm going to have a slight break, let these dry down on the test strip, come back, smell them later, and I'll go through my final, I guess, ranking, if you want to call it, and see what I think about all of them as a whole. So, a few minutes. Okay, so I am back. I've given my nose a break after smelling all of this, and this room is now potent. And I've let all these dry down on the test strip, and I'm gonna go through and give my takes again on each of these, and then kind of give my what I like the most over maybe the top 3 that I like. So start with the first one. That was the Cuba Copa Cabana. So okay, dried down a lot cheaper, has a harsh background behind it. You can definitely tell it's that Armani Code style still, but maybe on skin it'll be a lot better. Not my favorite out of all the Cubas that I've smelled so far, but not the worst one either. So it's okay. Not the best, but okay. Now the Bogart One Man Show Gold Edition, which I can still smell even though the test strip is out here. Okay, let's go back into it. Okay, it is dried down a little tamer. It's not very tame, but a little tamer. You still get that animalic punch, but those cloves and the cinnamon, those spices come right in the background. As you keep smelling it, you definitely get those spices and that those musks and that woodiness. So definitely old-fashioned, retro, but if you like that style and you want something that's gonna be monstrous, you can definitely depend on that one. Now the Bejon one. Yeah, I like it a lot more than the Bogart. Not that the Bogart's bad, it's easier to handle than the Bogart One Man Show Gold Edition one. Soapy, clean, aromatic, slightly spicy, very, very slightly sweet and a little musky, but almost like a barbershop style, but not in the traditional barbershop way. Like barbershop, but yellow tinted. Like the image that comes to my mind, old style barbershop, not run by like high up, you know, Italian people or groomers, whatever, just home folk. It has those yellow tinted windows and a white Nerolium floor and people that you're used to being around, and you're in the 80s, clean, soapy. You're about to get ready for church the next day. It's just, it brings a whole idea, but I do like it. I really, really like it. So yeah, if you want a good old-fashioned 80s style fragrance that is clean, soapy, powdery, slightly sweet, definitely get this one, because this is not bad at all. Really like it. Okay, now we're getting to the modern stuff again. Najia, remember we had that Invictus kind of style, slightly spicy with cinnamon, but yet the bubblegum sweetness and fresh. It's still there. Now it's drying down to being more like Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Also reminds me a good bit actually of Hollister Festival Vibes, I think is what it's called. I did it in a short way back. There's a little bitty blue bottle that had the twist atomizer that revealed it. It popped up and popped down. More similar to that, I think, than Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. But yeah, not bad. I do get the cinnamon though, that spice, which makes it closer to Hawas. Even though Hawas has a lot more, I think, kind of plum notes in it, a lot more Middle Eastern. Even though this is Middle Eastern house, it's not as Middle Eastern as Hawas is. So, but nice. Very good spring, summer, I think maybe even fall. Maybe too light and fresh for winter, but pretty good, yeah. Especially since you have that aerosoled perfume spray, you can carry it with you anywhere and put it in your bag and spray it on before you go in somewhere instead of having to carry the actual glass bottle. So that's a nice addition. I really like that they did that. Very, very nice. Here is the Antonio Banderas, the Icon EDP. It does not have a tonka bean note in the listing, but it definitely has that tonka bean nuance to it. Clean, sweet, powdery, slightly spicy, very professional, very easy to wear, not going to be offensive at all. I can definitely see this being worn as an office fragrance, as a casual everyday fragrance, all year round. Maybe go a little lighter with it in the hot, hot summer. Really like it. I'm very excited to give that some wearings and see how it develops on skin. Now the last one, which is the Armaf Cabana Nuit Intense for women, the Tom Ford Noir de Noir clone. Very, very, very nice. Rose, patchouli, vanilla, sweet. It's definitely gonna be feminine leaning for people who don't like rose or florals, or if you don't like Middle Eastern fragrances. You're gonna definitely say this is way feminine leaning, but for people who like that style, you're definitely gonna say perfectly unisex. And for me, I wanna say perfectly unisex. Even though he is a niche perfumer, if you get a chance to try Aaron Terrence Hughes fragrances and samples, I think you can go on Max Aroma and buy a huge sample kit for, I think it may be about $70, $90 or so, which isn't too cheap, but it's cheap compared to the value you get for the amount of samples you get. If you try Onyx or Onyx Extreme, you will definitely say that this is a similarity to that, and I love how Onyx smells. Probably one of my favorite rose fragrances that I've smelled so far. And even though it isn't expensive, well, not too expensive when compared to the quality, but expensive compared to these niche fragrance, it is really good. And probably the only kind of rose that I could tolerate. And this is very, very close to it. I really, really like it. And this is $23, $25, which is amazing for this. This is just absolutely knocking it out of the park. I can't believe I haven't smelled it until now, honestly, because I love Armaf, and I'm trying to slowly get all of their Club de Nuit line in my collection, but I'm glad that I have gotten to this one right now, because it'd be something that I would wear and my wife could wear. Yeah, really good. Really, really, really good. Highly recommend that one, and it does have that oud background to it, which makes it very well put together, a good base, and I think that's what helps it lean to either side, feminine or masculine. So, well, there you go. That is my first Cheapie haul, first impressions video. Over 6 fragrances, which I don't know if that's a lot or not a lot compared to what you would expect or what you'd want, but I hope that you did like what I've got so far. I hope the video wasn't too chaotic, because I like to plan everything out in my mind. So flying by the seat of my pants is not my thing at all. And I really hope that at least some part of this was entertaining and coherent enough, and actually would help you understand these fragrances, whether you want to buy them or not. So general rating, you know, I'd probably say these on a more modern end. And I hate to say that because I do love my old-fashioned ones, but I would say as far as quality, the Armaf one, top one for me. That'd be my number 1. The Antonio Banderas, the Icon EP, number 2. The Najia, number 3. Bejon, number 4. And we got 5 and 6. So I guess actually it worked out with it being my least most favorite. I didn't plan on it being that way because I didn't know how these were really going to come out. But it kind of works out pretty good that way. So, but if you want me to do something that's way more randomized, where I don't have a clue what it smells like, I just buy it out of a whim and based on what it looks like, I would love to do one like that. Or even as an idea, if you want me to do just a video where I get a bunch of retro old style cheapies, you know, like things like a Pinot collection, Acqua di Pino, or even Acqua di Brava, or even a lot of old 80s, 90s fragrances, you know, Touch for Man or Rocos or anything like that. Even if it's way older than that, you know, Agua de Selva, things like that. If you want me to get all of those cheap, old style retro fragrances, just a huge haul of them, and do like this and do a first impressions of them and just see which ones I like more, I would love to do that. I mean, I have no qualms with me because I love those old style fragrances, so I would buy them up in a heartbeat. I really like them, and they're still very inexpensive and cheap because not a whole lot of people know about them and not a lot of people pay a lot of attention to them. So it's benefited us because they're on the cheaper end. So I would love to do that kind of video. So whichever one you want me to do, if you want to see another one of this where I just buy a random amount, but maybe try not to look too much into them before I buy them, just to make it a actual blind buy. Or if you want me to do the retro ones where I just stick to old-fashioned ones, I would love to do either one of those. I just hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, please consider liking the video, commenting, telling me what you like most. If any of these you already have or looking forward to getting because of this video, let me know what you think. Or even if I do another Cheapie haul where I do recommendations from you guys, leave me down in the comments all kind of recommendations, and maybe sometime soon I'll buy all those recommendations and talk about them for the first time on camera as I smell them. And if you are not subscribed to this video, please consider subscribing. There's a lot of other things I want to do like this and more in the future, and I hope that maybe I can help you discover something new and amazing along with me on this Cheapie's journey. But that's all I have for today, guys. That's all I got for the video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here along with me, and I will see you all again in the next video. Be blessed.